reading skill this week, and it's something we've talked about before, is connotation and denotation. They sound fancy, but they really are pretty simple. Denotation starts with a D. Denotation is that dictionary definition. That's how you remember it. They all start with D. Denotation, dictionary definition. So the denotation of a word is its actual definition. Denotation is the literal definition of a word, what you would actually find for the word in a dictionary. The connotation is that feeling or idea that's associated with the word. So a word's connotation is the feeling of a word or the effect that it has on the reader. It's related to the actual meaning, but it comes across in a slightly different way. It comes from the way it's used, okay? So, the word scrawny on page 383. If I look back, because I'm not just going to guess what it means, scrawny on page 383. Let's see if I can find it for us. It says, here we go. It's when Chief Came Away is thinking about his little sister. She had been scrawny and demanding and had an irritating habit of following him everywhere, he remembered. So he's thinking about his little sister. He says that she's scrawny. Now, if I look up the actual definition of the word, then I would find that scrawny, when I look up the actual denotation, the definition of the word, scrawny means to be thin. That's the denotation, the definition of the word. Scrawny means thin. However, when I'm looking in the story and he's thinking about his little sister who was snatched away, then not only am I getting the feeling that she's thin, but I'm getting the idea that she's weak or vulnerable. Think about if I was describing a stray cat. Scrawny, if I describe it as scrawny, you're going to picture a very thin cat. But if I say it's scrawny, you're probably thinking about it being really thin, like skin and bones thin, and it's going to be very weak, very vulnerable to predators. So scrawny's definition is just that it's thin, but the feeling that you get when you read the word scrawny is that that thing is weak. Okay? Let me do another one. Let me skip down to slender from page 384. Let's see if I can find it on here for us. Slender. Down at the bottom of page 384, a slender woman with long dark braids entered the tent. So if she's slender, then the definition, the actual definition, denotation of slender is again thin. But when I say slender, I don't really picture something being weak like I do with scrawny. Okay? I go back to thinking about like a stray cat. A stray cat that's scrawny is thin. A stray cat that's slender is thin. But the connotation, the feeling that you get from those words is different. Scrawny makes you picture it as like skin and bones, being very weak. But slender, you really are just picturing something that is slim, not being fat, right? They're both meaning, the definition of both of those words is that they're thin, but the connotation, the feeling behind those words is different. Okay, so now I want you to find dictionary definitions, denotations for snatched and assertive. And then I want you to put what feeling you get from those words. And I don't just want good or bad. I want like what I showed here. Okay? All right. Go ahead and figure out the denotation and connotations for snatched and assertive. And fill them in below.